After many years away, it is back. The Who Report, a new regenerated edition. My name is Nick, and I'll be your host for the evening. And I'm here with Aaron, our expert Whovian. How you doing, Aaron?
The Who Report? I thought we were talking about Starfleet Academy.
Oh no,
I'm
that's
doing
tomorrow night.
I'm doing well. It's great to be back. I didn't want to do it, but the producer gave me bags and bags of streaming money, so here we are.
Yes, the bags and bags of streaming money, the pennies he used to belt you over the head and say, "Do the Who Report." So we're going to follow a very similar format to the original Who Report. Welcome everyone. There is comments. If you want to comment on this, we can pop you up on the screen, have a bit of a chat. But we're going to dive straight into it with the Web of Fear, which is an oldie but a goldie, where we will look at everything that is going on the internet currently to do with Doctor Who, which, Aaron, really isn't much.
No, we were talking about how it's interesting looking at the Web of Fear at the moment because traditionally this part of the show looks at Doctor Who news, and there is a vacuum at the moment because there's very little news as to what's going on. And as we're going to discuss, that vacuum is being filled by just an echo chamber.
That is completely true. We've got a lot of stuff being popped up online at the moment from many different channels. Yeah, explain what you've sort of been seeing recently.
Well, because the last series of Doctor Who probably ended with a bit of controversy with the series ending, and then no really clear plan for what was going on in the future, there's been a void of information. And now we know there's going to be a Christmas special, but beyond that, there's really not much. Hi, Greg. Hi, everyone. Good to see you back. But because we have a lot of the sort of Who news channels that report all the rumors and news and things that are happening, sort of have to create content, you end up with this echo chamber of non-news that kind of gets put across as news because one person reports on it and another person reports on that, and before you know it, there's kind of a couple of different sources. I see it in the shop where customers come in and go, "Oh, do you hear this is happening?" And I go, "Well, no, that's not happening." So one of the things on the web at the moment is it's being filled up with content for the sake of being, for the sake of making content. So maybe that's why we're back.
Yeah, well, there's a prime example of that today. One of the heads of the BBC did an interview for just the usual press stuff with, I think it was Deadline or something like that, and basically just said what is being said all the time. We are committed to Doctor Who. We're coming back with a Christmas special, and that's it. And every single news outlet has posted something about new Doctor Who news, executive at BBC spills all, stuff like that. And there's really no news. The news is exactly what was told, what, about a month ago, 2 months ago now.
Well, those of us with good memories will probably remember Doctor Who was cancelled sort of permanently in 1989, and the BBC came out and said, "We're committed to creating new Doctor Who and taking it through the 90s in the best way possible," which seemed to be not making any Doctor Who at all. So, for all those people who are listening to these channels, just take it with a pinch of salt, because from what I'm hearing behind the scenes, there's no streaming partners yet. There's no budget attached to a new series beyond this Christmas special, and there's no direction as to showrunners or the way it's going to proceed. So I guess we wait for the Christmas special, which is still a year away almost, and then we might get some news then.
Well, that leads right into all of these supposed leaks about the showrunner, which there's, people saying that it's going to be one person, people saying it's going to be another person, but really there's not really any news at all to who is the showrunner.
Well, there's not even very much news about the production that's being made at the moment, which I think is just about to start screening. And as far as I know, all the BBC have said is by the end of the Christmas episode, we want kind of to reset it so whoever is showrunner in the future has a clean slate and they don't have to go on with any of the continuity. So maybe that would suggest that Russell T Davies will wrap up some of his storylines, and maybe it'd suggest that they'll deal with the bi-generation and Billy Piper as the Doctor. We don't even know if there'll be a new Doctor. I don't think there will be, because if there's no new series being made this year, and the series won't be made, if there is one, till 27, no actor is going to sign up to wait a year before they actually start filming. Could be wrong, but that's my read on it at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And look, no news, I guess, is good news. It's better than us being told that Docky Who has been cancelled. But yeah, obviously we don't really know anything as of yet as to where the show's going to go from here.
Yeah, guys just said there would be a spin-off thing happening on the quiet. There is something happening. They are making an animated series for kids. So that's the only other thing that's happening. There is no budget for a spin-off series. The big announcement is, I guess, Blake Seven is coming back. And so that's the only real sci-fi news that we've heard at the moment. But even that, there isn't a lot of clear plans yet as to when, how many episodes, just a few behind the scenes details. So that's where we are in the current state of play with Doctor Who.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll just have to wait. Well, we'll jump into our next category, which is Who Tube. Aaron, please explain what is Who Tube.
Well, this kind of flows on from the web of fear. There isn't much news at the moment. So one of the things we can do is look at YouTube, and we're not talking about the news shows and stuff. YouTube, when it started, was really a catch-all of anything that people wanted to put up. And it wasn't until a few years later when they decided, okay, it's not an 8-minute limit, and you can have longer videos, and you can put different things up. It kind of became a repository of digital or a digital archive for stuff people have put around. A lot of times on YouTube, stuff's put up, and it sort of is very big for, only a week or two maybe, and then it disappears. But I thought we'd do a category or a segment called WhoTube, where we look at some of the classic stuff that has come up on Doctor Who on YouTube over the past 20 years. Can you believe YouTube's been around for 20 years? How well it's aged, stuff that's great that people might not have seen, weird and wonderful stuff, and just a catch-all. So if anyone has any stuff they remember on YouTube that we might want to look at this segment, feel free to send us links and we will check it out. But today, and this one I chose because Nick had never seen it, was a Doctor Who anime that was put together. And the crazy thing about this is now it would probably be quite easy to put it together really, really quickly. It was done by Paul Johnson, and it was released over 10 to 15 years. In fact, the last time I looked at it sort of for this, there was more added to the end of it that I hadn't seen. And so it's kind of a what if Doctor Who had been made as a Japanese anime. I don't know if many people have actually seen it, but you hadn't seen it. What did you think?
I thought it was awesome. It had that 90s, Akira vibe to it. And it was really cool to see that obviously there was a lot of love for Doctor Who in it as well. It wasn't just they picked a random show and ran with it. Yeah, for anyone who wants to give it a watch, highly recommend. It's about 12 minutes long, I think. And that goes by really quickly. It's just a bunch of little clips. As you can see, you got the Master, Daleks, Sutek rocks up. It's all just like a little clip show of Doctor Who anime, which wouldn't it be awesome if this is kind of what we were to get from CBeebies, but I doubt it. Because it's a bit more adult than a kid's show. But yeah, it was really cool to see such a creative use of Doctor Who in an anime form.
Well, the crazy thing about it as well, I think it kind of predicted a lot of things that happened on the new series. So you had the Master teaming up with himself, you had Sutek coming back. It was presented in a, coming next week in Doctor Who kind of form. Yeah, it was really good work. It works with Doctor Who and anime, and I think that was the good thing. The person who put it together obviously had a love of Doctor Who and the anime sort of style and art form. And what was crazy about it was it would come on and you'd see it'd be a 5 minute clip, and then they added another 5 minutes, and literally it took about 12 years to put together. The character design was fantastic. It took classic monsters, and in some cases, like the Cybermen, it updated them. In other cases, like the Daleks, it was sort of very respectful to the series and how they looked, and also from the different eras. So you had Imperial Daleks and Davros. It had a really good take on the Third Doctor, and he, of course, fit right in with the Venusian Aikido and karate and the moves that he did. There's some great, if you want to check it out, there's some great cyber conversion clips where there's like a production line, and I tell you, it's way better their version than the actual new series version that was in Age of Steel. The Cybermen were more, had the human inside rather than just sort of the head that they did in the new series. They had original sound bites from the actual series. So when you get to the Master, you have various actors who played him voicing it, and they've taken lines from the series and worked it into their own storyline. And the Doctor and the Brigadier, the Daleks and Davros, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So a pretty high bar to set for a Doctor Who animation.
Yeah, it was really weird watching it. I didn't realize. Yeah, that's completely true, Russell. It must have been a lot of work. I was really surprised because it did mimic a lot of stuff that we saw in the new series, especially, the massive Dalek fleet invasion and stuff like that from Parting of the Ways. And then I realized this was kind of done before the new series sort of came up. So yeah, they did a really cool job, and it would be awesome to see this kind of thing made into a long form show, but I doubt that will ever happen. But it is a really cool little piece of Doctor Who history, I guess.
Yeah, it's a cool little corner of the internet where you can see a what if Doctor Who had been adapted into a Japanese anime style series, and I would say would have been fantastic.
Mm, yeah, definitely. I think it worked really well with the third Doctor, being the one who did Aikido and other things. But it'd be interesting to see the guy come back and do some stuff with the new series, chuck in some of the new monsters, that sort of thing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well, anyone who knows Aaron knows that one of his big topics are missing episodes. So we're going to talk now about the destruction of time. Aaron, I'll let you take this away.
So this seems to be one of the more interesting topics that we talk about, just from my personal point of view, and just the generally classic fans, kind of bordering on obsession with missing episodes, because missing episodes, they destroyed them in the 70s. So unless you sort of grew up at that time, anything missing that returned is a brand new episode for you. It didn't exist, and then you can see it. And there hasn't been a missing episode return since the 50th anniversary. So we're going on 13 years, 12 years since the last returns. And the biggest news at the end of last year was the Film is Fabulous group, who are saving film collections and cataloging them, announced that they have got some missing Doctor Who. And at the end of last year, they found a collection. I think it was known that the guy had missing episodes and wasn't going to return them. But at the end of his life, he was in the middle of giving his collection to Film is Fabulous, and for it to go back to the original copyright holders. And we don't know how many episodes. We probably think it's more than one, so at least two. And it seems like they had a little bit of legal issues, because in the process of him returning the episodes, he passed away, which meant that they ended up going to estate trustees instead of just being a simple handover. But they then announced that that had all been cleared up and they had the material returned. And just last week, they have said a batch has been given to restoration team, which is not the traditional restoration team. It's a different company, which says to me that they'll restore the episodes before they announce them, which means the day they announce them, we'll probably be able to buy them and download them, which is fantastic because the worst thing we know is having to wait to open our Christmas presents. We want everything straight away. What do you think about that, Nick?
Look, it's really exciting, especially that's sort of that stealth drop where we don't know anything about it, and all of a sudden they say that something's back, and you can go out and purchase it probably digitally first, and then they'll do the physical media later on. But that is a really exciting prospect. Hopefully, we do get some news. It would be nice to know what is coming. Being a fan, we want to know what's out there and what is on the horizon. But yeah, look, if it cut out the time waiting for the episode, I'd almost rather not know until that comes out, and then just be able to pop it on the telly straight away. So look, I have my fingers crossed it's more than one, probably more than two or three. I'd love it if it was all 92, but I doubt that. But we can all dream. So yeah,
So I have a question for you, Nick. Have you watched
yeah,
Tomb of the Cybermen?
I still haven't watched Tomb of the Cybermen. I'm
You
so
see,
sorry.
that was
Yeah,
recovered in 1991.
yeah,
So
10 years before I was born. Yeah.
yeah,
So
and you still haven't watched it, so that's no
yeah,
excuse.
well, yeah. So, well, look, the new ones will come out, and I won't watch them. No, I will. Tomb of the Cybermen is on my list. Yeah, Black and White Who has not been something I've delved too deep into. I've seen a lot of Hartnell, but unfortunately not a lot of Troughton. But yes, no Tomb of the Cybermen. As far as I know, it hasn't even been discovered. So
So, so is it exciting for you that stuff's coming back if it's something you probably won't
that there we are.
watch?
Dags has popped up a comment and said Nick is a bad Doctor Who fan. Yes, yes, I am. Yes. What were you saying, Aaron?
So, is it exciting for you if it's something that you're probably not going to watch in any hurry, that the episodes are coming back?
Absolutely. Especially the ones around the Daleks and stuff like that. If they were to come back, that'd be awesome. I love Master Plan. I've listened to the audio recordings of that quite a lot. So if something like that were to come back, that'd be really cool. Um, so yeah, it'd be great to. Oh, here we go, Greg. Yeah, Nick, you haven't watched Tomb of the Cybermen. I know, I know. I haven't. I've watched Enemy of the World, but I haven't watched Tomb of the Cybermen. Yes, it would be really cool to see something come back. It'd be amazing if we could bridge some of the gaps too, especially getting something that can maybe complete a season or get us close, so that maybe we get that Blu-ray release of the collection. Greg shaking his head. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so no, everyone apply now. Yeah, it'll be really exciting to have something come back, as it has been 12, 13 years since we've had an announcement or a recovery. It would be really great to have something come back, because it is.
The good the good thing about a recovery is it gets fans excited because it's, like I said, basically new material. Also, it gets a bit of press interest because Doctor Who's a big enough show. When something comes back, there is press interest, and if there's enough press and news, there's always the potential that other people who have missing material and don't know that it's missing see it, and then they can donate it to the shop.
Yes, that would be probably your dream, wouldn't it, Aaron? An exclusive showing of a missing episode at Aaron's Collectibles, but it's not happening. Do not take that as a sure thing
It's not happening yet.
yet. Yes. Look, if anyone does have missing episodes out there, feel free to bring them into Aaron's Collectibles. Aaron would love to see them, but yes, or donate them to a proper company like Film is Fabulous. But
if if they come to the shop, we will get them back to the BBC.
Absolutely.
So here's just some behind the scenes stuff. This list goes back a few years, but there is known missing episodes and missing material in various collections that people won't give back, but is known about. This is pretty private, and they don't really put it out there. I guess that's because you know, it looks bad for the people, I guess, but they all have different reasons. If you have something unique, maybe you don't want to give copies away of it as well. I've experienced that with music before. But these are the episodes from behind the scenes I've heard are on the table because they're possibly in collections, and it's Dalek Master Plan 9 and 11. Episode 11 would be fantastic if that came back because it's got all the alien delegates and their destruction. The Smugglers 3, another one I'd love to see just because it's got a lot of location footage in the Smugglers. Moonbase 1, which almost feels like it's back because the animation of the Moonbase is so good. It's one of my favourite animations, but it would still be lovely to have it back. Evil of the Daleks 3, anything with Daleks is going to be a highlight. Wheel in Space 4 and 5, which would plug the gap between 3 and 6, so you'd only need 1 and 2, which is weird because 1 and 2 I'd like the most because they have the servo robot in. And then everyone's favourite, the highlight of the bingo card, is Space Pirates 4, 5, and 6, which would be nice. We have episode 2, it's Robert Holmes material, so it's always good to get that back. I could be totally wrong, but they're the ones I've been hearing for a while.
Wow. Well, that's a lot of episodes. It'll be interesting to see if any of those are scattered in these collections that Film is Fabulous are talking about, whether it be that they're from the same collection or maybe they're just really common episodes in the missing episode community and multiple people have them, who knows. But there are some on there that I'm sure will get a lot of people excited. I'm excited for Dalek Master Plan. Any of those would be phenomenal, and anything with the Cybermen would be great as well. So Wheel in Space would be really cool
Yeah.
too. But yeah, who knows what's coming back? Hopefully there is a good stream of it for a while. Obviously, with Doctor Who being off the airwaves currently, it'd be really cool to maybe have one every couple of months. A new episode comes out and we get to sort of experience a new episode, if that makes sense, and be
Yeah,
excited
well,
for it. But who knows?
considering we haven't had any for 13 years, I don't see sort of a long series of episodes being returned. I think it's more like 1 or 2 will come back every time a collector pops their clogs, basically.
Yeah, okay. Yes. So how long do we have to wait for the episodes that are under your bed to come back, Aaron?
Ta-da! So I don't know. I have been working the cholesterol, so maybe soon.
Okay, good stuff. Well, we'll move on from that to I think our one of our final segments, which is mastering eBay. Now I can see obviously the master is on the screen. Is there a particular reason we're bringing the master with us to eBay HQ, Aaron?
Because he knows everything about there is to know about purchasing stuff online. Obviously, the
Fair
original
enough.
master knows all there is to know about mastering eBay. Always hoping for more Patrick Troughton lost episodes. Patrick Troughton is actually my favourite Doctor. I would really love for more Patrick Troughton episodes to be returned. So, in this segment, we look at some of the interesting finds and things that are doing the rounds on eBay, either available for sale, have achieved amazing prices, or bargains that have turned up. And it's not just eBay, we look at all the different online sites and different corners of the internet that people might not know about. Now, this one was an interesting one because it's a proof cover, and it's the proof cover from the Virgin. When Virgin took over Target, the Virgin Blue Spines were a subset of books that came out right at the end of the Target run. And the last couple of them got proof covers but were never actually released. And so there was Horror of Fang Rock and The Sea Devils were the next two that were due out. The Sea Devils and Horror of Fang Rock never came out as the Virgin Blue Spine. So this is unusual that it turned up for sale because this is the promotional material for those books that were never released. So there'd only be a handful of these out there. And this one's going for £155, which I don't know if that's a wise investment or not, but it's definitely an unusual piece.
Yeah, that is really cool to see. I didn't know what proof covers were or that you could even purchase them. I guess someone slid that one off the press and took it home with them in a manila folder back in the 90s. But yeah, it is really cool. Obviously, Horror of Fang Rock had a regular Target book, so what could have been, I guess, was a Blue Spine book of Horror of Fang Rock, which is a really cool story. Have you got any idea of whether there are other missing sort of proof covers out there?
Yeah, I think every single book was released as proof covers because they went out to, suppliers and to shops as advertising for the books. I've had hundreds of proof covers in the past, but I've never had that one. I've never seen that one turn up. So just thought it was an unusual one. And there's a lot of people that collect Target books. So that's, unless it's been sold, that's on eBay at the moment.
Wow. Well, I think the next thing that we were looking at was something completely weird and wacky. And you're going to have to explain what this is because I've done some digging and I really do not know why this is going for so much.
Well, this one surprised me. It's, I guess, one of the things that people collect a lot, and we've seen this in the shop more recently than I realized how popular they were, are the audio adventures and the Big Finish stuff and the stories and the BBC books and things like that. So I guess if you want to pop a Doctor Who story in your car and cruise around, um, or just listen to it, you know, at home, the Big Finish is known for their Doctor Who stuff. They've done other stuff as well, but Doctor Who's the cornerstone stuff. And they've just announced the last day or two that they've got the rights to 2035. So that's a whole lot more spin-offs of characters we really didn't need to know about for another decade. But this one is interesting because it's one of the early ones. It's the Bernice Summerfield stories, and she was she was the first new companion that they created after the series ended. So when the series ended, the Doctor was with Ace, and obviously they can write that for a couple of years, but to keep the series fresh, they wanted to introduce new companions and change things up a bit. And Bernice Summerfield was the first of the new adventures unique companions, and she was spun off into audio series. And probably when it originally came out, it wasn't huge. It would have only sold to, so many people. But that's actually a sold price. That's over $1,000 for a spin-off series CD based on Doctor Who. And just to highlight that, I love and collect 60s toys. At the same time, one of the rarest 60s toys, a Calendar Groot Clockwork Wind Up Dalek, in its box in amazing condition, went for less than a Bernice Summerfield CD. We live in crazy days. You are from a generation younger than me. Can you see the value in that CD? Because okay, there might be people who want it, but I don't see the value in that.
I had to do some digging because it just makes no sense to me. I thought maybe it's a missing audio story, but no, you can find the audio story online to listen to. I found out that it was a promotional CD that was sent out if you bought a box set of her first few stories back when they were first coming out and they were trying to get rid of stock. You got that for free. So people obviously didn't really get it back then, and someone really needed that to complete their collection. But it is crazy to think that a CD from the 90s is going for more than a genuine vintage Dalek toy from the 60s, which is sought after by a lot of people.
Is that CD available for download digitally, or that story is just not available?
It is available for download by means outside of the Big Finish website, and that is
Yeah.
probably all one can say about that.
The same way that everyone got the war between the land and the sea in Australia, basically.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is crazy to see that sold listing, especially being in British pounds,
Yeah.
which you basically double that number, and that's pretty much what you paid for at AUD. But yeah, absolutely crazy money spent on a Doctor Who CD. Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You can
that's
charge whatever
completely
you
true.
want. I could put that CD up for $1 million, but it wouldn't be worth it. But it is worth $1,000 because someone actually, it could be a
Mm.
one-off, but someone actually spent that on it.
So if anyone was collecting the Bernice Summerfield CDs back then and has it in their collection and needs a quick buck, that's an easy 1K you can make by chucking that one up on eBay. So
Yeah.
yeah. And another tip you've got here, Aaron, an eBay tip of the week. I can see we've got the new character options figurines being shown on here.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things about character options is there's a bit of complaining in fandom that the figures are too expensive. Now, they are probably too expensive if they were being released as toys. But we're at the point now where character options are making 3 to 5 thousand of them. They don't go to toy shops. They're being made exclusively for fans. And when you're talking about stuff in being produced in those low numbers, the items are going to be charged more because it's not worth making low numbers. If you can make 100,000 David Tennants, it's absolutely fine if you make a little bit of a markup. But if you're making 3,000 Tegans, you've got to actually sell them for more for it to be worth making them. I am in the camp. I am happy they're being produced at an expensive price, so there is a choice for fans to buy them. But one of the things that I would say is a tip is don't complain and think about it. Just buy them if you're going to get one of every one of these, because as soon as they sell out, there are a lot of scalpers that are selling them for 2 or 3 times as much on eBay. In some cases, figures that are still available, maybe because people from overseas don't know where to find them, or maybe just because they trust eBay and they have an account with that and they don't look on other things. But if you're going to bite the bullet, get them from Character, because it means if they sell out on Character Options website, we're more likely to get more product. If there's one you don't like, it doesn't matter, because we're going to get one you like a couple of releases down the track. And B, if you're going to bite the bullet anyway, don't leave it a couple of weeks and sell out and then you have to buy it on the secondary market. They're really hard to get in Australia. I've tried to import as many as I can in for the shop, but the expense makes it, really not worth it. I did have some Tegans in this week, but they all sold out instantly. And I'm pretty sure Character are going to be announcing new stuff soon, so keep an eye on the website. But the master's tip is don't buy them from scalpers, support Character, and we'll get new figures.
Yeah, it is crazy to see the markup that people are putting on eBay. But as Russell said before, some people will charge a fortune on eBay. But yeah, if it ever sells is another thing. And they are selling. So yeah, if you are looking for the figure, jump on the Character website, get it through there. I think that's the
Yeah,
way to go. Yeah.
yeah. So they were side-by-side comparisons of what they cost at Character and then what scalpers are selling them for.
Yeah, crazy. Well, Aaron, this has been spoken about in depth before, this special secret website that you've told many people about, but no one uses it. And I think there needs to be a public service announcement about this, because there's been some crazy deals over the last week or so. Explain to us what this is, what you're showing us on screen, and why these are so important.
So you think that the master is evil, but he has hearts of gold, really, and he likes to help people get bargains where they can online. And one of the more interesting subsets of collectibles for Doctor Who is foreign versions of books and different things. And a lot of people love to collect that. Now, a lot of these go for a fortune on eBay, but there is more than one auction site globally than eBay. And the one I use for Japanese items is called Jouse. So it's spelt like sauce, but with a J. And Nick, you asked me probably about 4 or 5 months ago, could I get you a
Yeah.
set of the Japanese Doctor Who books at a reasonable price? Now, typically when I have them in the shop, I sell them between $150 and $200 each. And I have been looking weekly on Jouse, and a set came up for 6,500 yen, which is about $65 for the entire set. And I bid on it and I won, and I was the only one to get it. And because I was getting that, Joust is one of those companies that you buy it, it sends your items to a reshipper in Japan and they pack them all together. While I was looking for Nick's books, I also found a Japanese version of Doctor Who and the Daleks, the Peter Cushing movie, which usually goes for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And I got one for 3,000 yen, which was $30, in really good condition as well. So part of the way of collecting is collect smart. So don't just look for what you want and then take it as that's what I've got to pay if you see it being sold on eBay, because there's a lot of other sources. And after I showed Nick that I'd got that was a surprise. I didn't tell him. I was showing him some of the prices of Star Wars stuff and Nintendo stuff, and it was all insane. And so if you do like to buy stuff by auction, I can tell you, I can recommend them. I've never had an issue. They've never lost an item. I've never had any fraud, and it's an easy process. So the postage is a little bit expensive, but when you're getting stuff so cheap, it's absorbed by the price of the books. So I think the whole lot will be landed here for $100 rather than $150 to $200 each. And that's the master's tip of the week for bargains.
Well, that's a pretty good tip, and it's going to be very interesting to see what you pull out next week, because I don't think there can be anything better than that. I'm very excited to get those books and put them on the shelf and not read them, because I cannot read Japanese. So they're going to be really cool. Thank you very much for getting those. Well, that brings us to the end of our slides. So I think what we'll do now is obviously talk a quick little bit about Aaron's Collectibles. Aaron's Collectibles at Shop 3, 1 Main Street, Blackburn. There we go. And aaronscollectibles.com. What's going on in the shop at the moment, Aaron?
The shop is a cruel mistress that takes all of my time. At the moment, we have had, no joke, the last probably the last three weeks more stock come in than the last 6 months. I don't know if it's people trying to pay off their Christmas credit card debt or whatever, but we've had a massive Harry Potter collection, a massive He-Man collection, massive Star Wars collection. The entire upstairs is bombed out with a Golden Years of Hollywood collection of posters and books and things like that. So I spend most of my time cleaning and pricing and arranging stuff. Chad, who's the manager of the shop, is in there most of the time dealing with customers and also displaying stuff in the shop. But at the moment, if you came in daily, you would see lots of new items every single day. I said to Chad, we should not be buying any more product because I haven't got any room and I haven't got a lot of money. And that, of course, made 9 collections come in over 2 days. So at the moment, things are absolutely insane. But we've got some special stuff coming up. Do we want to talk about that?
I think we're going to have to talk about that. Now, this was going to be an exclusive, but then Aaron forgot and decided to put it up on his page anyway. But I think we'll pop it up here. Aaron, so excited. One of my favorite companions, the first classic companion I ever saw, which was, it's going to be amazing to meet her. So, Aaron announced it.
So yes, in conjunction with the Sirens of Audio, who are having a event that weekend with Louise Jameson, who played Leela, we're lucky enough to have a shop signing with Louise, and she'll be in our shop on the 28th of February between 1 and 2. Autographs are free with one purchase in the shop. So if you're on a budget, it's a cheap way to get one. If you want to come in and get more autographs but don't want to go to the convention, you can get the one through the shop and then you can pay for extras, which are the same price as the convention. She is doing a little bit of a tour with her one woman stage play. So she's going to be in the shop for the afternoon, and then there is a stage play that night. And if you look for the Sirens of Audio website or their Facebook page, all the details are there. If you go to Aaron's Collectibles website page, I've got links to their site with information. And then she is also going to Hobart and Sydney, but Melbourne's getting her first. So that's coming up in just under 3 weeks' time. So I'm super excited about that. And she is an absolute fan favorite. I mean, we had Tom Baker repeated over and over on the ABC, and it would be Sarah Jane and Leela were the ones that got the most repeats in Australia.
Yeah, well, the first story I ever saw of classic Doctor Who was the Invasion of Time, which was Leela's last episode. And I got that because I just watched the Poison Sky with the Sontarans and saw the Sontarans on the front cover of the DVD and went, I have to watch that. So it'd be so cool to meet her. She's such an iconic companion,
Yeah.
probably his most iconic outside of Sarah Jane. So it's going to be really cool. And anyone who wants to see her one woman show, highly recommend jump on the Sirens of Audio website and book a ticket. The more we support Sirens of Audio, the more awesome guests that we get coming to Australia as well. So that's really, really exciting. Yeah, what are you going to be getting signed by Louise Jameson either on the day or at the convention the following day?
Well, we do a exclusive postcard, which is on that promo that Dag's put up, that we give out for free. I usually get that signed, and also um, the posters in the shop that we have for her event. We get those signed. I might get a Target book signed. She is a companion I've met a few times before, so all of my autograph books and things like that I have already got signed for her. Though I will try and get her to film a mini advert for the shop, which I usually try to do with all of the actors and Doctor Who companions that come through. So I'll be trying to do that.
That'll be awesome. You should get one of the things you've already gotten signed by her and just start trying to see how many times you can get her to sign the same item before
Yeah.
she goes, okay, I can't sign this anymore. This is actually insane.
Yeah, that's a good way to devalue an item, Nick.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that is very exciting. Anyone who wants to come in and talk Doctor Who, definitely come down to the store. That is obviously our specialty. And if Dags is around, I'm sure that he will love to talk Docky
Yeah.
Who as well, being
If you
his
come down on the
favourite thing.
day, don't talk to me about Doctor Who. Don't talk to Nick about Doctor Who. Don't talk to anyone else on the staff. Dag's on the door, loves to hear your Doctor Who stories, and he loves to give his opinion on all his favourites. So that would be my
Definitely.
tip of the day.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to go off and I'm going to, where is it? I'm going to go watch Tomb of the Cybermen as per your request. Now, I have seen quite a lot of classic Who, but I want to put it out there to the audience. If there is a specific classic episode that you absolutely love, pop it in the comments or wait till next week and pop it in the comments there. And if I haven't seen it, I will add it to a list to watch before the next show. And I'll give my little tidbit on it, which will probably be a raving review because it's not.
Well, I'm going to go away and I'm going to read my unreleased Sea Devils with the proof cover that never came out, and I'm going to be imagining all those 70s special effects and sound and music as I read. So that's what I'll be doing tonight.
Excellent. Well, everyone, it has been an absolute pleasure. We will see you next week. For those who are into Star Trek, pop on tomorrow night. Dags and I will be talking about last week's episode of Starfleet Academy. But other than that, that is goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
All right. See you guys.
See you.